So you want to work at an Eikaiwa. Well, let me help you with that. Alright, thanks for stopping by. Today I want to talk about the pros and cons of working for the big Eikaiwas. There's about 3 or 4 of them. I worked for one of the big ones. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't think that's very cool, but you're more than welcome to send me a message and ask me about that. I'd be happy to talk to you in private about that. But today, talking about the pros and cons. So let's start with the pros. Number 1, friendships are fantastic in the Eikaiwa world. First off, you're going to start with a group of trainees like yourself, maybe 5 or 6, and you develop a good relationship with them during your training week or however long you have. It's a really good time and you'll enjoy it. Second thing is, you'll be working with another FT, foreign teacher, and you get pretty close to them. A lot of people develop lifelong friendships with their offsider. You'll be working with Japanese teachers, and most of the time they're like, yeah, come on, we want to show you this, we want to do this, we want to do this. So that's really exciting. You make some great friendships. And the last one is you make friendships with your students. The good thing about that is a lot of your students are well off, so they have these really interesting hobbies. Like I have friends now that do scuba diving. Some of them go snowboarding every winter. Lots of things. One of my students even played the koto, and she took me along to her concerts, which was fantastic. So you get some fantastic friendships out of working at Eikaiwa. Okay. Next, number 2, the help that they give you getting set up here in Japan is fantastic. So there's so much that has to happen for you to get a posse here in Japan. You've got to get a letter of recommendation. I can't remember the exact term, but you'll know what it is. You got to get your visa after that. Then you got to get accommodation. You got to set up at your city hall. You got to sign up. You got to get just even little things like getting yourself your own in-car and things like that. It can be pretty overwhelming. So the good thing about working for an Eikaiwa is they're going to help you out with all of that. They're going to give you pretty good instruction, and it's pretty straightforward. So, makes life really easy, particularly when you're moving to another country. Okay? Alright, the next one. Training. They give you pretty good training. I was really pleasantly surprised with the level of training that they gave me. You get your initial training, which could range from 7 days to a little bit more, maybe a little bit less depending on the company, I'm not sure. And you get follow-up training, so after your first month, they call you back and then you have a full day training. They cover off on all the things that you might be having a bit of trouble with, and they just give you a bit more depth. And then after that, maybe once or twice even a month, you'll get maybe half-day or full-day trainings in at the head office. I worked in the Chubu region of Japan, which the central area there is Nagoya. So my head office was in Nagoya. So I'd go in there a couple of times. It was really great. It was a good opportunity to meet other teachers, get some ideas, and brush up on your teaching skills. So that's a really good positive thing. The next one, and I'm sure you're all like, yeah, I want to learn about this one. Good pay! Good pay, yeah. So it's about the company I work for, starting salary of 270,000 yen per month. Translates to about 2,800 Aussie dollars, depending on the conversion rate. I think it's about 1-to-1 with US dollars, so 2,700 a month, I think. And that's a pretty good wage. It's better than what you're going to get as an ALT, maybe comparable to a jet. I've heard reports of some jets getting a little bit more, a little bit less, but it's not too bad. It's a good salary. On that, I was able to save about 600 Aussie dollars every month while I was working, and have a pretty good social life. Depending on the company you work for, my company in particular, the pay does scale up after your first year. So if you get a contract renewal, it goes up to about 280,000, and it caps at about 300 to 310,000. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's not too bad. Okay, so pay is not too bad. Okay, so next is accommodation. Now, accommodation, moving to another country, oh my god, what do I do? Good thing about Big Eikaiwa is they're going to set that all up for you. Example of this is you'll probably be put into a Leo Palace 21. That's what I was in, and pretty much most of my company is in, or the company I work for. Now, I'll put a link to their webpage in the description below, but just to give you a brief outline, you're going to have a table, you're going to have a futon, you're going to have utensils, washing machine, refrigerator, and a TV, a little stool. It's basic, but it's everything you're going to need to start off and be comfortable. Okay, so that's pretty good. I've just moved into a place that was unfurnished, and like when I got here, I was lucky to have light fittings, you know, like it's unfurnished, trust me. So that's pretty good, okay? Now, I'm talking about the cons now. Our first one is going to be stress. It can be quite stressful working at an Eikaiwa. Some of the schedules are jam-packed, full on. Like for example, your Saturday is going to be probably 8 lessons. And your break most likely won't be in the middle. It might be 2 hours in, or maybe 6 hours in. Who knows? It's just, it all depends on the requirements for the school. So personally, I've done 7 hours back to back. I know people have done the same, you know, 6 hours back to back. It can be really, really tiring. Okay. And they're going to be asking you to do umpteen different things in between lessons. You've only got 10 minutes, you have to be checking the kids' homework, you might have to do interviews, you might have to do counselings. It's really full on, okay? So just be prepared for that. It does happen. A good bit of advice is just go, okay, this is stressful, people might be getting upset, just go with the flow, okay? Good piece of advice, trust me, alright? Next thing, and this is a big one. I know that a few of the people that I went to training with had a real big problem with this, and one of them quit because of it. Sales. It's not really a con because it's part of the job, but a lot of people see it as a con. Yes, you're working as a teacher, but part of your job will be to sell materials, and you're going to need to counsel students about materials and try and get them to buy these materials. So be prepared for that. It will happen, and your managers will be trying to push that because they have financial goals to achieve. Now, one really good strategy that made it easier for me, because I'm not a salesperson, I always struggled with that, was I looked at it as an opportunity to recommend materials or methods for students to improve their English. Okay, so that made it easier for me. The next thing is that the students know what's going on. They understand, they've been through it before, they're not going to think any less of you, they just know that it's part of what you got to do. And they'll go through the motions. And either they'll be interested and they'll go, yeah, cool, let's do it, yeah. And some are, like every time you talk to them, they're like, yeah, I want to try that, yeah, I want to try that, yeah, I want to try that. And some of them just every time are like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Are you interested? Oh, maybe. And you won't hear anything. They know the process, so don't feel bad about it. It's part of the dance, okay? Alright, so the next thing is you don't get much time off. You get Golden Week, which is about 8 days, depending. You get Aubon, which could be about 8-9 days, depending on how it falls. Every couple of years you get, I think, about a 4-day weekend called Silver Week. You'll get maybe 2 weeks or a week and a half at the New Year's or Christmas, New Year's. And the other thing to remember is Christmas isn't a big holiday over here, so you may have to work. Also, a lot of Japanese public holidays will fall on Mondays, and quite often people's days off fall on a Monday, so you don't get any days in lieu, okay? Quite common, you'll get 5 paid days off per year. It can be difficult. Again, depending on where you are, it can be difficult to take that. so just be prepared for that. And you don't get any paid sick leave. Alright, so if you're sick and you decide to take the day off, either you're going to take one of your paid days off or you won't get paid. That's another thing. Taking sick days can be difficult. Yeah, my advice for you is you might feel pressure not to take days off. If you're sick and you feel that you shouldn't be working, then it's reasonable, I would say, for you to make the decision not to go to work. As long as you follow procedure, then they shouldn't have anything to pin you on. Okay? They might be upset, but you can be confident and rest assured that you've done the right thing. Okay? That's a big tip, I should say. Follow procedure. If there's a procedure laid out, follow it. And then if somebody gets angry at you, you can go to your trainer and say, hey look, I did this the way that I was told. I have a problem and it should be okay. Alright, so just follow the procedures that you're given and you should be okay. The next one that I want to talk about might be a problem for some people. The big company that I work for just said flat out, you're not allowed to drive. You're not allowed to get your driver's license. If you're working for us, you're not allowed to do it. Now, they can't really enforce this. They can make your life difficult. Say if you get your driver's license and they find out about it, then they might make it very difficult for you to renew your contract. Okay, so just be aware of that. So yeah, driver's license is a thing. One of my co-workers that I worked with, great guy. He's been here 10 years. His Japanese is fantastic. He's got a family. He's got a beautiful young daughter. Still not allowed to get his driver's license. So just be aware of that. And if you do it on the down low. Don't tell anyone. Okay? Tip. All right. Now just to finish off, my experience. I enjoyed working for an Eikaiwa. Teaching was fantastic. I enjoyed the lessons. The materials were great. I enjoyed teaching the kids. Be prepared for that. You will probably have to teach kids, and they can be a lot of fun. Just depends on how you approach it. Okay. Let's see. The only reason that I left was because of something that was outside of the company's control. So overall, I would say it's a positive experience. Okay. The very last thing that I'm going to say is, if you do find that it's not for you, and some people do, the company is very, very strict on, you must not break your contract. It's the end of the earth if you break your contract. Something bad's going to happen. I don't know. I never did find out because I broke my contract and nothing bad happened. The students understood. My foreign teacher that I worked with, he understood. Even my trainers, they said, hey, you gave us notice. That's fine. I gave them 3 months notice and that was fine. So look, they're going to demonize, the whole breaking of the contract. But if you do find that it's not working for you, move on. There's a lot of different opportunities here in Japan. And once you're here, the world's your oyster. Okay? Anyway, I could probably talk about a whole heap of other things. I'll make some other videos, I think. Cheers.